Are you ready?
I was born ready.
Please include that.
And that
It hurts
it hurts his ear holes.
to do
It is warm in here, I'm
the
not
whip
gonna lie.
cracking. Well, yeah,
put
it's
a-
hot.
just
It's like
put a
90
volume
degrees
warning.
outside.
No, I got in
At
the
the
truck and
beginning,
it said like 100.
No AC here.
Or something, and I'm like, oh jeez.
Okay,
I'm not
we are
complaining.
suffering for you
No,
people.
I'm not complaining.
I'm complaining. It's too hot. I'm sweating.
I'm much rather this than when we come in here and it's freezing.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, no, I hate the cold.
Yeah, you can put on more layers and just.
Plus, we have a
fine.
heater in the wintertime.
Is this light new?
Yeah,
Did we have that last time?
brand new.
Yeah, it just seems bright. Throwback to our last episode
For
of
those
Hayden
of
with
you who
this.
don't know, I'm making fun of Hayden right now.
Wow. Wow.
Watch the last
You're welcome.
episode and you'll see.
Wow.
All right.
I'm gonna leave.
All right. What are we talking about?
All
various,
sorts of mythical creatures.
various list of mythical creatures.
But are they all mythical?
Potentially mythical.
Yeah, potentially mythical because I think there's a couple that we just decided were maybe not mythical.
Maybe not mythical.
Dave is
They are
doing some quick
most
research on his
certainly
phone
not
right now.
mythical.
You know,
He's just on some
What's this research you're doing over
some
here?
last minute.
checking my Facebook. Big stuff going on.
What is that? 10011?
What?
Looking at programming over there.
Oh, binary.
Binary code. He's smarter than me.
It's like the Matrix.
Yeah, so so just different creatures and things. That 90% of which, I mean, we all know at this particular point, I don't believe in any of it, but with the exception of the one. I do believe in the one,
What's the one?
the giants.
Okay.
Right,
What about unicorns?
Unicorns?
Well, unicorns as they're mentioned in scripture, not unicorns as they're mentioned in fantasy.
You mean they don't fart rainbows?
No, they don't fart rainbows.
Well, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that point.
Yeah, prove it, Taryn.
Prove that they do.
We see rainbows all the time.
So the
all the
unicorns
time.
No, but that's for leprechauns and pots of gold.
See, I thought that was a promise that God will never flood the earth again, but you can contort the truth however much you want, Taryn.
Wow, I walked right into that one. Like, right.
It's not what many people change the meaning to. I promise you that.
Yeah, it does not mean what people make it mean today. Huh? The LGBTQ
LGBTQ, LGTV.
Z2S plus. I don't know. There's
plus.
they've added now.
I
There's
thought it was just
no.
QIA.
No, there's a bunch now in there, and there's a 2.
There's a 2?
Yeah,
There's a
there's
2.
I can
Anyways.
identify as a number?
We're gonna get kicked off YouTube. This is not part of the mythical creatures, even though.
Well, yes, they are.
I've seen some of them out there in the wild.
Whose phone case is that?
It's mine.
You have to show that to everyone.
Wubba.
What is that?
Nothing.
Wubba lubba dub dub.
Before you know what
is
it is,
that?
you shouldn't say it on the air.
What if
It's
it was
actually a
something
series
bad?
of curse words.
In a different language.
Just means nothing.
We're definitely getting kicked off the air.
Do you want to start with unicorns?
I guess.
Since we were talking about it.
What about them? What are we, I still don't even know what we're talking about.
Just sit back and enjoy the ride. Wow. Anyway, so unicorns are mentioned in the Bible. I had some scriptures pulled up about them. They're actually mentioned a couple times in the Bible.
Book of Job.
In the book of Job, in the book of Deuteronomy. Let me find it here. The one in Deuteronomy, Job has a lot of mythical creatures in it, or what we would consider mythical creatures that we don't see anymore today.
So, Behemoth, he's talking about dinosaurs and all that.
Yeah, well, and yeah, so the behemoth would be dinosaurs. There's some other Leviathan, which I think that's mentioned more than just in Job. I can't remember though off the top of my head. I'd have to
The
look it up.
Kraken.
I'm pretty sure it's just Gyarados.
Gyarados,
Like
yeah,
from
from
I thought you were
Pokemon.
talking about the sandwich. Gyros?
Euros.
Gyros. Yes.
Euro.
But Job does have a lot. When God is talking to Job, he's mentioning all of these fantastical beasts that are out there. And in Deuteronomy, it also talks about the unicorn, and it really it does not paint it in a pleasant picture. Basically, it talks about, it's as strong as an ox with a horn that wants to come out and gore people, basically. And somehow we took unicorn and turned it into this
frilly
happy
It's
thing.
a man killer.
Girl's toy.
Yeah, but it's a man killer. And really, when you look at it, and it's in Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 17, if you want to see that. And so it's really, I think, it's not talking about a horse with one horn. I feel like, and I probably have a lot of backing on this if we were to do extensive research, but I feel like it's probably more along the lines of a rhinoceros. Just a giant beast
But it
that
doesn't
has a horn.
retract.
It doesn't say that it
I
retracts.
thought you said that.
Like
it would
Wolverine's
come out.
claws.
It doesn't say. No. The
Wants to come out.
No, no.
I mean, I picture
the unicorn would come out and gore people.
Oh.
You're all petting its face, and then all of a sudden, boom,
Just boom, just out of nowhere, the
through your
horn
hand.
just.
Murder in time. And it just comes for you.
Gotcha.
You've been X'd, punk.
I don't get the reference.
It's The Office, Hayden. Wow.
Where did you say it was?
Deuteronomy 33:17.
No, I just went to 3. Whoopsies. 33:17.
Yeah. Did you pull it up?
Yeah, I got it right here.
Do you want to read it?
It says, "In majesty he is like a firstborn bull. His horns are the horns of a wild ox. With them he will gore the nations, even those at the ends of the earth. Such are the 10,000s of Ephraim." I'm in NIV. Does that change it?
No, it's still basically the same thing.
Because it says horns.
And there's
like
a
his
lot of
horns.
context there. King James uses the unicorn, I think, or horn.
I'm going back to King James.
But I think the scientific name from what the article I was reading is Asian one-horned rhinoceros.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I don't think there's anything that has a horn that only has one horn that we know.
No,
of. Besides that thing in the water, the weird looking thing.
The narwhal. Yeah.
Narwhals,
Um,
swimming in the ocean.
This is definitely going to be an episode that's all over the place. But the Asian one-horned rhinoceros.
They're so cool.
And then the scientific name for a two-horned rhinoceros is whatever. I can't pronounce it. But it's a bunch of these Latin words that are pulled together. And then it says in Psalms 92:10, it uses the Latin word unicornis, translated by the King James Bible, translated into unicorn. So it's mentioned multiple times, but in no instance is it ever referenced as a happy creature.
Yeah.
And somehow, and I think when we go through a lot of these things, I think that we'll see that there was reality that was morphed into something mythical, right? And so here, because of the Latin words and the King James and all the stuff, the word unicorn was there, talking about an actual creature that over time has just transformed into something over the top and crazy.
You know, we're talking about an animal, and this is going to take a huge jump into something serious, but we do that with Scripture too. We have actual Scripture, and then we change it into this mythical Scripture that makes us feel good, makes us feel nice and warm and fuzzy on the inside. It's a big problem.
Poop and rainbows.
It's not it's not quite as the Scripture one is a lot bigger of a problem than changing just the
Right.
animals, obviously.
Right.
But we have a bad habit of doing that as humans.
Well, and kind of to go along with that, I mean, it's different, but to go along with that, I was reading an article where they were saying that the Bible can't be true because it's using all of these, it's talking about these creatures that never existed or don't exist, and unicorn was the one that it mainly popped out. But it was just a single horn. It's not talking about the one-horned horse that flies around and does all of the stuff, but they were trying to say, well, the Bible can't be real. It's just a book of myth and mythology because it uses unicorns and these other different creatures that it talks about, in which they're taking that out of context because in its original, it's not talking about the fancy one. It's talking about a one-horned creature that would come out and gore people.
Yeah. We twisted that in our own heads.
Yeah,
We
it,
changed
wonder.
what we decided.
yeah, we changed what we decided it was going to be, not what the
Yeah.
Bible said it was.
Yeah.
Say no wonder they're not around anymore. Going
Why?
around just goring people. We had to take them out.
But the thing is, though, is
we had to
based
control
on
They
that
lost the
situation.
war.
based on Scripture, they are still around. They're only not around if we think of the shiny horned.
Picture
Yeah.
this. Narwhals
Hmm.
used to have legs.
Isn't that reverse evolution?
Yeah, that's like opposite evolution.
Yeah, I know, but
Let's-
I'm trying to make a solution.
Or
for us.
maybe we just haven't seen a narwhal evolve yet to get legs.
like in Pokemon.
Maybe it's-
We're going back to Pokemon.
So it's at its second evolution right now. It's not
This
quite
is-
at its
okay,
third.
this is very distracting. But narwhals, we actually know very, very little about narwhals. The reason why is
they're
because
reclusive.
when we get close to them, they go into a full-blown panic attack and they have heart attacks and just die.
Oh, jeez.
Like if we get too close to them, they literally just die because they get so scared of us.
That doesn't even sound like a defense mechanism. It sounds like an offense mechanism.
Definitely not the one we're talking about here.
Well, you think you're going to study me? Joke's on you. Dead.
Maybe God put that on the inside of them so that we could.
So we couldn't know that they were really unicorns.
There's a purpose for everything. There's
Yeah.
got to be a purpose to the self-defense mechanism of just dying.
Just dying.
Like we got fainting goats. What's that about?
Well, if you act dead and you're around something that doesn't eat dead things, I guess that would work.
What percentage
I
of things
mean-
aren't going to eat you if you literally like?
Tons of things play dead. That's
I know,
why
but
it's a,
like seconds before you're about to eat them, all of a sudden they just kill over, and you're like, never mind.
yeah, exactly.
Why?
Rotted meat now. I'm done with it.
That's how I plan to go.
it's unclean.
Gone.
He's just sitting there at the table one day. Da, 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 da.
Someone goes to mug me.
Just so all over the place.
But
So
anyways,
mythical
so
creatures.
unicorns
Mythical creatures.
are real.
Yes.
We're
yes.
real.
Are
well,
real.
it can be.
because
Yeah, still real, I guess.
The rhino is still there.
Yeah.
So-
Chupacabra.
What about
So what is the chupacabra?
It's that little weird thing from Mexico, right?
He's looking at Corey. He's
Corey.
looking at Corey.
Corey.
Right?
Weird
Like,
thing from Mexico.
it's the Mexico thing.
Pretty sure there's a. Yeah.
Goat sucker.
Sucker. Uh huh.
Goat.
Cabra.
Chuba means suck. Cabra means goat.
It goes and kills goats and drinks all their blood.
There was a lady I remember. They said that she found like the remains of one and like they stuffed it or something. I can't remember.
She's just got this weird creature like above
Yeah.
her fire mantle.
It's weird,
Fireplace
skinny and like
mantle.
long legs and
Really?
yeah.
That
Interesting.
couldn't have possibly been any other animal. It had to have been a chupacabra.
It's a mutated beaver rat thing. I don't know.
Like a nutria.
Like a nutria.
Yes,
Oh, dude.
but like a very
I
skinny
do not like. I
nutria.
wish nutria were fake.
They're awful.
Yeah. All right. Tell us about giants. Who's talking about giants?
We've talked about this actually quite a bit before, but it ends up working its way
Let's
into
not go there.
our debated, is it Nephilim as in like a line of Seth, or is it angels coming down and making baby human demon giant
Which they're
mutations?
not, for the record.
Well, in your opinion. We don't know.
The offspring
For
of
sure.
demons and human women.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways.
But yeah, anyway, so Corey found the video and sent it to me. But there was this guy who came out with this story. He was in the military. He came out with a story of, I think he went to Afghanistan, right, Corey? Yeah. Afghanistan.
Kandahar.
Kandahar? Oh, you watched it too? Yeah. Nice. Okay, so
Why
goes
didn't
to
nobody send it
Afghanistan.
to me?
Yeah, I
It was
didn't.
in the
I
group
didn't
chat.
watch
I
this
forgot
video.
about that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was it in the group chat?
Yeah.
How long ago?
Man, I should start paying
Probably like a
attention to
day
that
ago.
a little bit more.
Wow. All
Tuesday.
right. I've had a week, I'll tell you. Just had a week. Anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
So anyway, he releases this testimony of this group of soldiers who were in Afghanistan. It was in Kandahar. I don't want to mispronounce it. Kandahar, something like that. They were up in the mountains, and in these mountains, there are like these cave systems going all throughout, right? And they're coming up this hill, and there's like shredded American military uniforms and pieces of equipment all over this path. They think it's like a goat path or something like that because like it looks really, really used.
No chupacabras there.
Maybe the giant was only there for a week, and just because he's so heavy, you know,
All right.
it
Sure.
pounded it in. I don't know. Anyway, so they're going along this trail, and there's military uniform like shreds and patches and stuff like that. So they go up, and this group of them, there's like, I forget, they were just kind of looking around. They were looking into a cave, and then a spear just comes flying out of the cave and goes into one of the guy's chest. He dies dead, gonzo, giant spear in his chest. Okay?
Finito.
Finito. Everybody else is on alert. Like, they got their guns drawn. They're all looking. And basically, they went into attack mode. They saw the thing, and I don't know how quickly it happened. I didn't get a whole lot of details about the actual fight scene, but they kill it. Okay? Or at least they think so. I don't know for sure if it was dead. They radio in. 2 helicopters come out, right? One for the squad and the dead guy, and then another helicopter just for the dead giant. And they come back and they debrief them and all that. And all these guys tell the exact same story. And then the helicopter pilot that came and picked up just the giant went to a different air base. He was debriefed and described the same giant the exact same way. He never even, like, as far as I know, it sounds like it in the video when he's sharing the testimony, that the pilot of the helicopter that carried the giant away never even spoke to the group of people that attacked the giant, that killed the giant. But they described the giant the exact same way. Now, they held on to that for a really long time because it was like, what is the word? Not indicted. That's not the word I'm looking for. It was they signed an NDA.
Okay.
Non-disclosure agreement. So they weren't allowed to talk about it. It was redacted. That's the word I was looking for. So they weren't allowed to talk about it. But this guy finally comes out, and all this comes up. Tell me what you think about that one. Modern day giant.
So the modern
They
day
have
giant
the
was taken
giant?
to the same place where there's aliens?
Do they
It's just
have
a different
they
base. It wasn't like
captured-
Area 51.
They
or anything like
captured
that.
the giant,
Yeah, he was dead.
and they're trying to keep it a secret.
Yeah,
Why?
Why?
because they're the government.
Why do they keep aliens a secret? We don't know.
They're
not
already
real.
a secret. They're not real.
Says you, some guy.
Just some guy.
Some teenage kid. What do you know about the world? But that is my question. Like,
Why would they keep it a
Why would
secret?
they keep it a secret? And it's going
Well,
to the
Same reason they
mythical
faked
place.
the moon landing.
Do you think they keep giant
we should
skeletons?
talk about the fake moon landing.
We should.
Why else would they keep like giant skeletons? I mean,
Hidden.
Hidden.
Yeah.
Where do they keep giant
Yeah,
skeletons?
what are you talking about?
I mean, there's reports that people say they destroy them or they get rid of them, and whenever they find giant skeletons.
If you want my full honest opinion, I think one reason why they hide stuff like this is because it helps prove the Bible more.
Right.
That's one of the reasons why
So
I think they do this,
I mean,
genuinely.
when you talk about evolution, especially, how much is involved in that and all the money and just
Mm-hmm.
then pushing it forward. If you come out with giant skeletons, it's the opposite of small to big.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you'd have to explain, well, where do these giants come from? You know.
Because then we got small again.
Yeah.
Unless they but giants really did exist though, even back then.
Well, I
right?
found an article from the New York Times from 1902 saying giant skeletons found, archaeologists to send expedition to explore graveyards in New Mexico where bodies were unearthed. I'm not going to pay the New York Times to read the article, but feel free to.
Just looking at
But
the
trust
title,
me.
that tells me everything.
1902,
I
that's
So
a
I
long time
didn't
ago.
read the article, but I'm sure it has
Well, it's
some.
the New York Times. I mean,
because they can always be trusted.
well, in 1902, I'm pretty sure they were pretty reasonable.
Yeah, but I think that could be genuine. I think that could be very a very large part of why they do something like that. There was a lot of work to separate church and state that went on for who knows how long. And as time goes on, we get less and less Christian as a nation. And I think if stuff like that comes out, then, like I said, I think it just helps prove the Bible more. And so people in power that aren't Christians specifically don't want everybody to know that. Because then they can't shove it down kids' throats that evolution is fact, even though it's a theory.
Yeah.
So the entire cover up is solely to disprove the Bible.
I think it could be. I think that could be a large part of
It's the
it.
driving part. Yeah.
I think it very well could be. Again, I'm not saying that's fact. I don't know.
Or it's
Like-
not real.
I'm just a guy that lives in Oregon.
The giants aren't real?
Well, I don't know.
Not
Come on,
anymore.
Taryn, commit.
It depends on listen.
Yes or-
okay.
yes or
so
no?
You can't
Are they
say
real?
They would cover up a military incident and not cover up skeletons. Because if you believe in giants, there should be a whole bunch of skeletons available at the Smithsonian.
yeah, but I don't know
Nice.
how.
That's the face of a man who's been defeated.
No, I'm not defeated. I just got to think of how I'm going to word this.
Pressure on.
First off, there's two things. So when I think of giants,
Mhm.
immediately I picture Skyrim and the giants in
Who
Skyrim.
doesn't?
But then I also, right? But
Were
then
they like 40 feet tall?
No, they're like twice the size.
But
of
then I
ours.
also
Oh,
think
okay.
I had to
So,
look
yeah.
up. I couldn't remember the. I couldn't remember
was
the
I've never
movie.
played
giant.
Skyrim.
But then I also think of the Cyclops giant
Alexa did, yeah.
in Sinbad.
I don't know
Like,
what that is either.
Anyways. I don't know. Or in the Odyssey, the big giant. Yeah, I'm old, so you guys wouldn't know that. But I just the giant with the horn. And anyways, that's what I picture. So I do believe that giants did exist in an extreme way, right? So we know if we go back to Scripture, regardless if they're angels with women or not, regardless, there were giants, right? We see that in all throughout the Old Testament. In Genesis, and we see it again when the
Numbers.
children of Israel are trying to go into the promised land and they see the giants. We see it again even farther down the line with David and Goliath. Goliath being another giant, him and his brothers.
Was
and-
there a
and-
king
and-
that was mentioned that was a giant also?
Yeah. So
Like-
throughout the Old Testament, there's a lot of giants that are mentioned.
Mhm.
So I do think that they did exist. To that same extent,
Where'd they
I
come
mean,
from then?
we also have giants today, which just very, very large men. I'm thinking of,
Andre?
Andre the Giant, but also there's another guy
Yao
who's
Ming.
even taller.
It's like 7'6".
Yeah.
He's in
Yeah,
some
Yao
movies
Ming.
and
Shaquille
stuff.
O'Neal, 7'1".
Yeah, but they're never very healthy.
Yeah.
They're not leading
But-
armies.
But well, even back then, we don't know how healthy it is.
They picked him
believed
to fight all of Israel.
it's believed
Goliath.
that Goliath was
blind?
blind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
And
Legally
so,
blind.
yeah, legally blind. So
He
they
could see
still
shapes.
had, had
Says who?
deformities.
I never read this in the Bible.
Well,
There
it's
was a
not-
description. He talks about what he saw in David. He said, "You come at me with what did he say? Come at me with a staff or whatever."
Mm-hmm. So he's just stupid.
he could see just fine. He just didn't know what he was talking about. Okay.
An idiot. Big dumb
Well,
idiot.
typically when you look at all the giants in
brawn, no
movies, they're
brain.
all usually all brawn, no brain. Yeah.
Well, it's,
So
you don't have to just talk about humans, though. I mean, there are rare occasions where suddenly we see an animal giant.
yeah, and
Which-
so I do think that
yeah.
there is a throwback that does happen where there's some gene that's not right or whatever, and the person is giant. As far as giants regularly occurring today,
It
I
says
think it
there were
happened a whole
giants
lot
in those
more.
days.
Well, back then I think it happened a lot more.
We kinda
Uh,
bred that
when
out
the
of
gene
us.
pool was less diluted and muddied down, and I mean,
They were purists.
Which
More
back
pure.
then it could have not been a deformity or a messed up gene, right? Whereas today I just don't. Back then I think it was more common, more regular for whatever reason. I do think that it was more common back then because it's mentioned a whole lot more back then.
right.
It was part of
You know what else they mentioned back then?
what?
Demons and women having babies.
One time it maybe
Then a flood
alludes
happens,
to it,
and all of a sudden they're kind of gone.
but they're not. Numbers happens way
I
after the
said
flood.
kind of gone.
We're gonna-
Kind of.
This is a whole other discussion we can get right back into all over again.
He's afraid.
Anyways, I'm not saying that they couldn't exist today,
Mm-hmm.
but the giant 12, 15 foot, whatever giants that we picture, I just don't, I feel like that'd be noticeable.
That was the description of the one that was in the cave. He was
That's
12
what I'm
foot,
saying. I
12
feel
foot
like
tall,
it'd be
hiding in a
noticeable.
cave. Well, that's the thing though. Is he was in. He
And
was
why in a cave?
Kandar?
Where was
Yeah, he was
he?
supposed to
Kandar,
be some
Afghanistan?
red-haired, six-fingered.
Maybe he was.
giant.
Okay,
Six
think about
So
this.
definitely not genetically.
Yeah, like
Accurate.
completely.
But he's living up in the mountains, way in the middle of nowhere,
Mm-hmm.
in a cave.
So he just grew.
The air is.
It wasn't like he just kept growing because it was a different
Oh, a
environment.
red-haired Taliban.
Well, if you think about it like this, okay, this is a supervillain origin story. He's born 6 fingers on each hand, 6 toes on each foot, way bigger than all the other
now he's an
5-year-olds.
outcast.
They make fun of him.
He moves to the
relentlessly.
mountains.
He runs away to the mountains because someone threatens to kill him, or his mom takes him to the mountains, drops him off, and says, "Live here, my son."
I'll be back for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Abandons
She
him
never comes
like
back.
like the woman dropping her baby off at the fire station. Never comes back for him. He's feeding off of mountain goats for decades.
What's his supervillain name?
Giant.
Grub
The
Thar.
Kandar giant.
Kandar giant.
Kandar. So I'm not saying that you won't have rare giants pop up.
Yeah, it's an anomaly.
Yeah, an anomaly.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying, but why would you cover up an anomaly? If you can, if it's there and you can
'Cause
test
somebody
it
can't
and
explain.
see it, then like all of a sudden, hey, these genes didn't splice correctly, or I don't know how genetics works. But anyways, all this didn't work out. This is the reason why. Are we not exactly sure why? But we know that there was something wrong genetically with him. I feel like that'd be something that they would be happy to explain, because it doesn't
Unless they
disprove the
couldn't.
Bible, but. Just seems strange to me that they would cover up one.
Have you never watched
random-
a movie before? The government's always moving in to take over, cover up.
So
This
I'm
is
not, and
where
I'm
we
not
step
going to
into a
say
little
I'm
bit
not
of
going to say that
conspiracy
this guy
theory.
didn't exist. I wasn't there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think anomalies do happen, and that is a possibility. It's weird to me though that they would just be like, the only people who saw this was military people, and then it disappeared. Anytime only military people see it and it disappears, that doesn't make sense to me.
So you think maybe they like corroborated their story? This one guy's like, hey guys, I have this great idea.
Or something really bad went down. They drank some bad tea and killed each other, and then we're like, you know what?
That old military cover up the giant story.
Like, we don't want to get in trouble because we went ham on this guy yesterday and shredded his clothes and beat him to death. There was a giant. There was a giant.
It got dark. It
Well, that's what happened.
Yeah.
got
So
real dark.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
allegedly, allegedly.
Oh man.
I'm just saying, if someone did come forward with that, they would stand to lose a lot more than they'd gain by saying that story, especially in the military.
The government specifically.
But then it leaked
No, the
anyways,
people. Oh,
right? So then
gotcha.
it leaked anyways. So it's out there.
It's
So
14 years later.
Why be like, oh well, it wasn't really newsworthy, but here's the thing. Or I mean, 14 years later, then I guess at some point you can say like it wasn't real. I guess I don't know why you would though. It doesn't make sense to me. Why of all the things we're going to cover up,
You can't think
it's
why
that
the
one
government-
random giant in Afghanistan. It just doesn't make sense.
Maybe one that you know of.
Unless he was a government or military science experiment and they needed to get rid of the evidence.
Now we're getting
Ooh, there we go.
That
So-
would make much more sense.
Super soldier
so
serum.
super soldier serum.
Or they're trying to make super soldier serum from him, right?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or like taking his DNA or something like that.
They can't let the Russians know what we have under our belt.
The Russians have a giant. We get a giant.
So it's possible. I
There's a
mean,
legion.
maybe. I don't know. I'm not saying the story isn't true. It's weird to me. Why would they cover it up? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I think it goes back to
Why not cover it up?
the
You make so much money off of it.
The government, they're not really worried about money.
they're more concerned with power than they are money.
Yeah. So
If
look,
you control knowledge, you control
we
power.
have a giant. You don't. We're testing a giant. You're not. We're
Because-
making super soldier serum. You don't have any.
Especially like in the middle of a war effort, like all of a sudden there's giants. We just discovered giants. Like that goes from their mission in Iraq to like, oh, giants. We got to figure out what's going on. I don't know.
We're speculating a lot.
There's
But
a lot of speculation
A lot
here
of
'cause we weren't there.
speculation.
as far as giants are concerned, I do believe that there were giants regularly and that there can be giants today, but I don't think to the same extent as they were back then. Still, even back then,
I think we probably see a lot more
whether
health
they
problems now,
had
too.
brain issues or sight issues or deformities, they were strong men of valor, not
And kings.
and kings, and not some
I
deformed
mean, I'm not
giant
getting
ape man.
Hodor to run a kingdom.
I mean, what do you mean? Who's Hodor?
I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't
I don't know
know
what
who
that
that
is. I don't know what that is.
Random name.
It's a random name you pulled out of the air.
I'm genuinely lost.
Anyways, so
You all know
we're gonna
exactly
move
what
on.
it is.
But
I really don't.
Just smile and wave.
I will say I do believe that there can be today, but not the same kind that there were back then. As far as government cover-ups, I think I don't know. I think we'll just tell stories.
Well, then we're
sometimes
stepping
the same.
into conspiracy theories, and that's always fun.
I mean, there are. Yeah, we are. So same thing, right? Because people believe in Bigfoot, but believe that the government's covering up Bigfoot. For what reason
Why-
would they cover up Bigfoot?
Why
What is
would
the
they-
purpose of covering up a giant hairy ape man who walks around through? Depends on where you live. Everybody thinks he's in the Northwest, but then they also think that he's in the
Hey,
mid-South
I've seen
Or
him.
Canada.
or Canada.
I've seen it. Not really, but
I heard somebody make
That
this
was just
argument
Grandpa at
the
the
other day.
beach.
I heard somebody make this argument the other day against Bigfoot. Okay, if you look at the human race, in our opinion, we're pretty advanced, right? But there are some stupid humans out there. I mean, like really, really, truly dumb. Okay?
Just keep pushing that point. Just keep
I mean, you want to talk? Never mind.
If you think about this, if there was a race of Bigfoots, big feet, I don't know what you call them.
Big feet.
Okay? There would have to be at least one really, really dumb Bigfoot
to walk out in the middle
that
of
would get hit by a car.
Manhattan
Yeah.
or something.
Exactly. And we would have
Well,
proof.
he did. His name was Henry.
What?
Or Harry.
Henderson.
Yeah, Harry and the Hendersons.
You're not familiar?
He did. Harry and the Hendersons. He did walk out in front of a car.
He wasn't the brightest.
Old station wagon, I think, to be exact.
I bet they kind of weed out the dummies in their own society.
And there's just
Like the Spartans did.
Yeah.
You're
Like
dumb.
if you came out and you
They,
weren't very.
they send him to mountains in Afghanistan.
They shave him.
Yeah,
You gotta shave him,
yeah, they
too.
shave-
You know? There's like a 5-year-old.
It makes sense to me that a Bigfoot would be a
ginger.
ginger.
It's time, Timmy. Pick up a really big rock. Gotta take him
Let's
out.
go for a walk, son.
I met
Your shoes
somebody,
untied. Bang.
I met somebody who, 100% serious, definitely believed that he saw Bigfoot multiple times in his life, but he was kind of crazy.
And I think that, and one thing about Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, any of
What do
those,
you got against Nessie?
I don't
Don't
think
bring her
Nessie's
into
real.
this.
I don't think she's real either. Say
Leviathan.
something so bad, but I'm not going to.
Do it.
But I'm not going to. But you would think with my phone, with a $10 grocery store backwoods mini mart whatever drone that I pick up, with literally anything, I can take
drones at a
Don't even
grocery
talk
store?
about clear
better
pictures.
pictures.
Don't even bring
better
it up.
pictures.
This is Taryn in a nutshell.
then
This
we
is
get-
Taryn. Do you have a picture? Yeah, I got a picture. Oh, that's too grainy. Do you have a picture? Oh, that's too perfect. It's Photoshop. What's your definition of a good picture?
One that's not too perfect, but not
Yeah.
too
I'm
grainy.
just saying, if I'm walking through the woods,
Maybe a little bit blurry.
I'm walking
you
through the
can
woods,
still
I
figure out what's going on.
see Bigfoot. My phone will take a better picture than any of the pictures anyone has ever
Not if
seen
you're
of him.
scared and you thought you saw a
And you're
monster.
running.
Like, in the
Yeah, Taryn.
I'm telling you, I can
In the woods,
still
it's
take a
darker.
picture
That's a good
better
point.
than. They're only what, 50 feet from Bigfoot, 100 feet at most.
and
Maybe?
he's got a weird look in his eye.
no. He never has a weird look in his eye. He's always just walking through the woods, not even paying attention to them.
Yeah, those
Doesn't
are the
even
bad
see the
pictures 'cause
humans
they
half
get
the
in
time.
and get out.
I'm just saying. You would think with a
I never thought we'd get so heated over Bigfoot.
$10 camera at a mini mart
The
on the
Kodak.
side of the highway, I can take a better picture. Huh? It is true.
Corey
Make
says
him all
he knows
pixelated
what
and
cameras
blurry.
do, and a $10 camera ain't going to do it.
Taryn's not even here.
All of a sudden, for the rest of the podcast, you can't see any of me. It's just a blur.
Taryn wasn't really there. You can't see him.
I'm just saying. Somebody at this point would have at least a decent picture, I would think.
Where do these?
Satellites can take a picture of a
see,
fly on
I
your
sent-
collar. You think that if they're out
Fly
there,
on my collar?
It doesn't matter. If
Jokes
we,
on you, I don't even have a collar,
So-
punk.
He's like, yeah.
if I could produce a clear picture of a UFO, you would concede that they're possible, that they're real.
UFOs are real.
I've already showed you one.
If he himself, so here's the biggest thing. I
If
think
you
he
were
has a
there,
problem
if you were
with.
there with the selfie,
No.
you pointing at the UFO. Yes, I
As a
believe
beam's coming down, just for you, Taryn.
you. Your phone drops like, oh, that's
guess
where
he was
David's
right.
at. No, little beam got him.
I guess he was right.
Just right on the back, mailed to this address, so that when you do get abducted, you can drop the phone, they'll pick it up and mail it to me.
I feel like even if you were the one that saw it, though, you'd be like, there must be some explanation.
Well, yeah.
No, I was talking about the UFO thing. Like,
Well, I
even
mean-
if you saw a UFO come down,
Okay.
He'd
like
say,
100 yards away
So
from you,
let's
just over
be
there.
clear. UFOs exist. It just means
Unidentified
unidentified flying object.
Yes, I'm
unidentified
familiar.
aerial phenomenon now.
UAF?
UAP?
UAP? Oh, yeah.
Disregard everything he said so far.
He can't even spell. How does he know?
UAP. That's what I meant. Anyways, dirt. So those do exist. I mean, that happens. I believe that has happened. There are things we don't see. Sometimes we think, hey,
Well, the Pentagon released a bunch when they did that congressional hearing. Was it last year? You remember?
yeah, and
Like they had stuff. They're like, we don't know what that is. So
yeah, and balloons with Chinese chips in them, all sorts of stuff.
you don't even
just
equate the two.
things floating around out there. We don't know what they are. We can't identify them. I do believe in UAPs or UFOs, but alien UFOs from a different planet.
My God, they better be aliens because I'd be scared if China has that stuff.
It's not China. If China had that stuff, we would
Flying
have
over
Red
military
Dawn 3
bases at
going
will,
on
making
right now.
90-degree turns and back.
Do you
and forth,
realize the
like-
trouble we'd be in if it was China that had that
That's what I'm
stuff?
saying. We already have Red Dawn.
We'd be done.
So
Red Dawn. Oh, it's a good movie.
Red Dawn 3,
Yeah.
Oh,
right? Because the first one was Russia. The second one was North Korea. Then now
I've only watched one.
So either our governments have found a way to make propulsion systems that can defy the laws of gravity and not ripping human beings apart.
Well, we
Or there's
did.
something
Well, we
inside of it.
did, but then the current administration
That's a good
cut
point.
all of our funding for military stuff, so now we don't have them anymore. But we did.
Did you hear what I just said?
No.
Said who said there's anybody inside of those things?
True story.
even
We have
matter if-
drones. We
Yeah.
can sit there with a Logitech controller, and
Too soon. Way too soon.
I'm
Oh
not
my
dissing
gosh.
that. I'm not
Poor
downplaying.
Logitech. I feel so
Wow.
bad for them.
I'm
I
not
really do.
downplaying that, but that seems to be where we're going now, where we just control everything with.
Old news.
Cheap
They're barely
stuff.
12 hours dead.
I didn't say old news. I said I'm not downplaying that. Wow, way to turn my words. I'm saying we should not rely on that kind of stuff. But
This morning, the last blips of their air ran.
listen, I'm not. That was insensitive because I wasn't being insensitive. I'm saying
I know.
we should not.
I'm just
now I'm
picking
getting all
on you.
red faced because that's not what I meant at
The
all.
worst.
It's not what I meant even a little. I'm saying we're relying on stuff we shouldn't rely on. So we're just sitting down here and like flying with. It kind of possibly could
Yeah.
make sense, maybe. Drones, though, I do think they could be drones.
It could be. I think they still maneuver so quickly. Could the human brain process making these maneuvers they make?
Metachlorine count. Super high.
Operation Jedi War.
Exactly.
Ronald Reagan.
Do you know that there's actually like a lot of people that believe in the Jedi religion? Like it's a legit thing now.
Really?
It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, let me see if I can find the statistics.
Like the flying spaghetti monster.
What?
MK Ultra is slightly different than Jedi religion, but very close. David knows
Okay,
a
what
lot
is
about
MK Ultra?
What?
Explain MK Ultra, David.
So
yeah, I don't
it
know
was
what that
a-
is either.
You don't. Oh my gosh.
It was a CIA project that is fully known, and they've admitted it. It was like back in from like the 40s to the I think 60s or 70s. Yeah, but the CIA would experiment on people using like LSD and psychedelics and everything, and just see what would happen to them and mess with their minds.
Oh
pretty
no, I
much.
knew what this was. Yeah.
And try to
Yeah,
unlock,
I
see if
know
they
this.
could use telekinesis, I think, and stuff
Dude,
like
people
that.
in the 70s would have loved that.
What I find interesting is that like
People now
a
would
lot
love
of the
that.
serial killers that we know about came up around the same time, and they were all like a lot of them were in the military, like Dahmer, I believe was, and who's the one that just died? Ted Kaczynski. Like, and then yeah, they were all around the same time MK Ultra was going. I just thought that was interesting.
So you think the government was messing with them and they came out just like
Messed up.
sadistic and crazy and
Yeah,
hungry for blood?
personally, yeah.
Okay,
It's possible.
sounds good. I mean, that doesn't sound good. That sounds awful, but like,
Sounds
you know.
awful.
Well, you
know
said
what
it
I'm
sounds good. So
There was a TV show, a movie. Men Who Stare at Goats. Yeah.
Oh right, it was a
Man,
Man
Ron-
Who
Mr.
Stare at
Man
Goats.
Who
Ron
Stare at Goats.
John Ronson or something like that.
Yeah.
It's quite the title.
He
did a TED Talk when he
Jediism,
made it.
Jediism currently, according to a census, has 2,050 who
Followers.
consider to be themselves Jedis.
But how can you consider yourself to be a Jedi unless you actually do
1800.
these things?
Well,
Have you ever
why
tried
do
it?
you
They're
believe in
practicing.
Scientology? Where you can move stuff with your mind, but still can't. So
Because you're going to be able to eventually.
But you're not a Jedi unless you're able to do these things.
Look, a Jedi is a way of life. It's not a set of skills. Okay.
You sound like Anakin's slave owner.
Yeah, he does it.
He wants to be a Jedi.
This is right on topic for mythical creatures.
it kind of is, yeah.
Actually, Oh my goodness.
Anyways, so yeah, I don't believe in Bigfoot either. Let's get back on topic.
I agree.
I don't believe in
I
Bigfoot.
don't
I feel like
I feel like he could.
if he was out there, somebody would have found him at this point. Well. So I was
I don't
looking
know.
up.
I don't think he's that big, is he?
Bigfoot can be
Maybe.
6 to 15 feet tall, covered in hair, and bearing an ape-like facial appearance.
So we don't even know
So
how
he could
tall
just
he
be
And
like
is.
a
really
nasty
hairy dude.
stench. See, we know all of this information about him, but we can't get a picture of him.
He's very wily and elusive.
We don't even know how tall he is. That's like, yeah,
6
that's
to
a very
15
broad
feet.
range. It's like we're
Well,
just
you
making
got the-
stuff up. We're
No.
just
You got like
making
the
stuff
little ones, and then you got the women, and you got the men, the big ones.
Yeah, the 6-foot ones are the babies.
up. Oh, okay.
Once brought in a 16-footer. My fish was this big.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't believe in Bigfoot either.
Yeah, or Nessie, which I don't know a whole lot about Nessie, but I just feel like it's kind of the same thing.
Where
Like,
did these
every
start, though?
culture has their so Bigfoot apparently started
What'd
like
you say? Grainy
grainy
pictures.
pictures. Yeah. So
They've been
Bigfoot
faking Bigfoot
apparently,
for years.
possibly, and I'm sure if anybody actually watches this episode or has watched this far in the episode,
They're going to watch this episode.
they
This
may or
is the
may
best
not.
episode so far.
They may or may not correct me, but apparently Bigfoot started from a Native American belief. And
Yeah,
then-
like,
and
I
then-
thought
and
a
then
lot of these
grew
started with,
from
like,
there.
legends
Nessie,
and-
very maybe. Do they have Native Irish? Is it?
Isn't, yeah, I was going to say, isn't it like an Irish thing?
Yeah, Native Irishman. Where
Well,
is Nessie?
You got to think, like, at some point, maybe some fisherman guy was out fishing late one night, and he saw something. Like
He
a
saw-
fish hops up
He
out of the
saw a
water.
stick
there's
drifting
a
in the
gator.
It was too dark to see
No, I'm
that it
pretty
was a
sure
stick.
the guy that started that, it was like an old black and white photo where like it was like a little wooden figurine they put in the water. They took a picture and made it look like it was like way off in the distance, but it was just like a little serpent looking thing.
But where did he get the idea?
He thought it'd be funny.
Yeah, Lapras from
He's
Pokemon.
like, man, I'm going to mess with people for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like it just started off as a prank and turned into a big thing, probably.
Scotland.
Yeah. Loch Ness.
They're the
Scotland.
same.
Well,
Is that what you're looking at?
yeah, that's not. Why didn't you answer my question earlier?
I wanted to see,
Um,
look it up, I guess.
Anyways, so I think at some point that there might have been something bad happened to a fisherman, and then the story just grew from there. Maybe.
Well, isn't it supposed to be isolated to one small body of water?
Yeah. Here, let
So
me
it's
look.
dead by this point if it
Which
ever exists.
I'm pretty sure they've done like
the
full
Loch Ness.
They've done like full radar scans of that thing, so
So how would they have not have found it by now?
they
Because
will.
it's not real.
It inhabits Loch Ness in Scotland.
It could have been. I mean, it could have been some old prehistoric type dinosaur that made it
And then died
and died within the last 50 years.
tragically. Nessie, she's a goner.
Or the government came in late at night.
There it is. Now we
With the
exposed the
helicopter,
truth.
picked her up and
Took her out.
took her off.
And they
Yeah.
debriefed the helicopter pilot, gave the exact same description.
He got buried in the desert by Area 51.
I saw,
Yeah, he's not
I
alive
saw
anymore.
a video one time. This
He
person,
got dropped off
this
in a
person
cave.
had
Oh,
In
and then he
Afghanistan.
grew into. That makes sense. It's all coming together now.
I saw a video one time. This person put 2 + 2 on a paper and said it actually was 6 because you have 2 2s, and so there's a third 2 that nobody talks about because the government hides it from us. And that's what you guys sound like right now.
You know, you sound like me, 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 me. It's you.
Oh my goodness. Well, you said it was Irish?
Scottish.
Scottish? Okay. Well, aren't they primarily Catholic? Or is that
Yeah. They have
aren't they
been.
primarily
I
Catholic?
think they are.
So I mean they might have read out of the Bible Leviathan and been like, "Hey,
We have our
Saw
own
this
Leviathan.
thing.
Except for Leviathan, I feel like was probably mean.
Well, I was looking it
Probably.
up. Also, there's other words for sea monster and dragon. They called it jackal. I looked up the original word and so it talks about several places. I think 18 or 20 places it says where it mentions like jackal, and that can either be like sea creature, undesirable beast, or dragon.
I think like a dog when I hear jackal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was
Like a
thinking.
vicious dog."
Yeah, like a jackal.
Yeah.
Like a jackal's a real animal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah.
Is that it means dragon?
I thought the chupacabra was like a jackal.
But that's how we
Looked like a jackal.
transcribed it.
It's a beaver jackal.
From
Beaver dog.
ton was the original word. From an unused root, probably meaning to elongate, a monster, a sea serpent, other marine animal, jackal, also hideous land animal, dragon, whale. So it's kind of
That's pretty loose.
Yeah, I mean,
But well, and so dragons. What's the definition of a dragon? Does the definition actually mean it has to fly and breathe fire?
yes.
less.
Oh, do we
I
want the
don't- I don't know.
biblical
I was-
definition
Nessie.
of that?
That's what it means.
Well,
Nessie.
not
Nessie's
not
a dragon.
Revelation dragons,
Oh yeah, see Revelation. There's another one.
because then Revelation also talks about a bunch of beasts. When I was looking at mythical creatures and stuff, and
Locust was the
That's-
Yeah, I
that's-
mean, like,
now the locust though, that's an interesting one to me, because the locust, from what I understand, I just picture them as huge.
right.
Right, huge. They're covered in armor, which could very well just be a hard
Exoskeleton.
shell, an exoskeleton, not
Yeah.
actual armor. But then they sting you, but you don't die. You just think you're gonna die and wish you were dead.
It sounds like a
Um,
nasty toxin.
Much like
Yeah.
an alien might have.
Oh, you think-
Giant
that's a
green
bit of
Where
a
did that
stretch.
come
That's a
locust
bit of a
coming
stretch.
down. I
I
was
think.
just thinking that's alien, man, right there.
They're just coming down in their flying suits of exoskeletons, and they
There's an
zap
army
you with their
of
ray
bugs
gun. And
out there, and they're watching exterminators go to work every single day, and they're just up there rubbing their grimy little claws together,
waiting
just
for the
to
day.
wait.
Imagine being John on Patmos trying to describe like lizard people, aliens, or the Greys. You'd be like, take some
like
liberties.
V lizard people, aliens.
Like yeah, like they say, like Hillary Clinton, lizard person. I'm not saying she is. I'm not saying she is.
I mean, a lot of people do think that like a lot of famous people are lizard people. I get where you're coming from.
It's when you look up alien. When you get in aliens, there's certain types. You got the Greys. You got like lizard aliens, and they're like running governments.
So, so aliens.
I'm not saying these things. I'm asking
Other
questions.
people are saying these things.
So it's not that God made another species on a different planet. He made multiple different
Tons of
species
different
on
species.
multiple different planets.
And they all, for some reason, came to Earth.
Or don't come. Yeah, they all just converge on Earth.
Because this is ground zero. This is like where it's all going down. Armageddon is happening here.
It just seems to fall apart more and more as we talk. I'm just saying, like,
Who's to say they're on different planets? Maybe.
well, there are different planets.
I said, who's to say they're on different
I
planets?
might say
All of the different types
Might
of
be here.
aliens are on the same planet. And
Hollow Earth,
that's why
buddy.
they all came to.
Hollow Earth. Oh,
Flat
so they're all.
Earth.
Oh,
There is
all-
nothing
they're
outside
not
of
on
Earth's
different
atmosphere.
planets.
but
There you get into the flat Earth theory. Basically, is that there's nothing outside of our atmosphere. Everything, the sun, the moon, the stars, everything is in our atmosphere, and there's nothing beyond it at all.
we talk
Or
about flat
we're
Earth
in a
in the last
bowl
conspiracy
with a
theory one?
lid
No.
on top, and all the stars and stuff are just holes poked in it. So
we're just in a box. It's in a box. I think when I think about aliens,
I have a hard time because I bought a telescope before and like looked at Jupiter. You know, so I mean, how could everything be contained in our atmosphere?
we have a pretty big atmosphere.
it's
I guess.
very large atmosphere, kind of like
or a very deceptive
space.
atmosphere, so it looks far away, but it's not
Mhm.
really. Or it's
like,
just
one of those mind
you know,
tricks.
just like space. Like
Well, didn't we? We're on Mars, aren't we?
Yeah,
We have a rover on
we have
Mars.
a rover on Mars.
So how does what? Okay.
CGI.
Okay, hold on. The
Hey,
same-
that's made up just like the moon landing was made up.
but that
There
was so
are
much
some
more recent.
inconsistencies with the moon landing. Come on.
That was so much more recent, though. Mars.
Yeah, the rover.
Well, yeah, but we're also picking up giants and hiding them. So why would we not pretend to be on Mars?
I know, but I
Those are two very different things.
The
One's
government is involved in both of them,
substantially easier.
and both of them apparently are to
One cost
trick
billions
the
of
people.
dollars. One was like a helicopter picking
Hey,
up a giant.
maybe the giant didn't die, and he's encaged in this really fancy cell that costs lots of money, and then they got to feed him.
that would add up to a
People.
bunch of money.
Yeah,
feed him people.
feed him.
I don't know
people.
about billions, but it would.
Yeah, he just seems on goats all the time, anyways.
He's vegan.
He's
Super
changed
easy.
vegan.
Okay,
Yeah,
if
it is the
actually-
21st century now. He's like, I'm done with goats. I'm vegan.
He's all woke now.
Call me they.
His hair's all braided. He's a white guy with dreads.
America ruins everything.
Anyways, what were you saying about the Mars rover?
Rover.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like anybody who believes in the flat Earth would have to believe that the Mars rover thing is fake too.
So let's.
They would have to.
Right, and the pale blue dot, that would have to be Photoshop, right?
Yeah.
You
Well,
where
again,
they
in the-
sent, what was the Voyager, right? Voyager
Yeah.
1 and 2. It's like out past Neptune or something now.
The pale blue dot, is that the Voyager?
Yeah,
Or are
it's
you
the only thing
saying-
we've
okay.
had sent out there. The deep space Voyagers. They
Voyager.
snapped, huh?
Voyager.
Whatever. whatever.
No, it's Voyager. It's a Star Trek.
They
reference.
snapped a picture before like Earth was completely gone, and it was just this blue dot in a beam of light. So they call it the pale blue dot.
But that's fake.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It would have to. All
Yeah,
that would
have
be
to
fake.
All of that would have to be
Yeah.
fake.
And the same
Like
people that
everyone's
think
bit
it's
of
all fake are the same people that think like our government is just incompetent in everything, you know. But they could like cover up space and the moonwalk.
That's the thing that does, like, on all of these things, especially the big things, right? The big things, not maybe hiding a giant. And I think I brought this up on the last episode about, maybe it was Flat Earth. Yeah, because we did talk about Flat Earth on the
Did we?
last one. When we talked about conspiracy things or crazy creatures or whatever. Aliens. But our governments are not incompetent, obviously. There are a lot of things that go on that we have no idea and we'll never know, right? Or at least not
I
in our
think they put on a
lifetime.
big facade. Not so stupid now, am I?
But I don't think they're incompetent, but I don't think that they can every government in the world can work together. I just still don't believe that they can just all come together to cover up all of these things and no one ever break. But yet we can't decide on, well,
How to measure inches or
on
something.
how to measure inches
Yeah.
and centimeters.
Or we
Or,
can-
I don't
oh,
think
I
all
want
the
that
governments would
river,
have to be
so I'm
on
going to go to
board.
war with you. Huh?
I don't think that all the governments would have to be on board. Just like a
No.
few key players.
Just the important ones.
You would for aliens. You would for flat Earth. You would for...
Yeah, it's almost like the world leaders would have to get together
Just
for
kill the
like
ones that aren't
summit
cooperating.
meetings and
Yeah, but they do,
Turn the
and
cameras
they
off.
still want to kill each other.
when the cameras are on.
If I want to kill you, then I'm not going to come and be like, listen, I want all your land. I think you're stupid. I'm going to bomb you next week, but I still got your back on that flat Earth thing.
How long has it been since we've had a world war?
80 years.
80 years.
Let's just say they figured it out.
Look at how much money America gives to all these other countries. Where they give like Mexico like $50 million a year for their health care, whatnot. They pour money
It's
out.
hush money.
People are gonna do what America says they should do.
So America's the one that's backing all the flat Earthness
Probably.
because no other country would believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Other countries are worried about getting like fresh water. They're not worried about flat
They're not
Earth.
worried about the shape of the Earth.
We're
They're worried about if they're
running
going to
out
live
of
to see
ideas for
tomorrow.
problems in America. We have to come up with a new problem every so often.
People take fat from one part of their body and put it in another part here. Like, we're not with the rest of them.
That honestly is so true. It's so accurate.
This is so on topic for mythical creatures too. I just
the Kardashians, mythical creatures.
Oh goodness. I guess if we're talking about conspiracy theories, mythical creatures, whatever, we could discuss global warming.
hold on.
Since
hold
we
on,
talked-
hold on. I want to raise this question for the flat Earth. How many times have you seen a moon in the daytime?
Many times.
A lot.
So, people on the opposite side of the world just don't have a moon now because we see it on our side during the day. Does that make sense? Y'all understand what I'm saying?
So are you saying you're pro flat Earth or not flat
Yes.
Earth?
Well, it's only.
Pro flat Earth.
Yeah. Well, this argument is pro flat Earth. I'm not. But
So,
I feel like it would have to do with light refraction. I don't know. Something.
exactly.
so like it's like people
Science
we see the
stuff.
moon in daytime, so people in Australia just don't see the moon at nighttime anymore.
Well, it all depends on the time of year too.
Yeah, because if we could see it during the day, you're also going to see it at night. Right?
Yeah.
Well, because
Because
I
it's
think
circling-
I think it does depend on because you're tilted.
an
So as you're
axis.
going around, right? So sometimes in the year you do see it, and then sometimes in the year I think you don't because now you've tilted away from it.
Mm-hmm.
Could be.
Bazinga.
Bazunga.
Man, bazinga.
No,
I just
that's-
want to see your answer. to that.
That's exactly what it is. So we're on like this axis, right? And we're going around the sun, and one full rotation around the sun is a whole year, right? There's a certain part of the year where our Earth is tilted, and our region of the world, I guess, gets more sunlight than during the wintertime. So like during the summertime, our days are longer, right?
right.
Exactly. But the rotation of the moon around the Earth, or however the heck it works, I don't even know, is on like its own timeline as well.
Right.
He's explaining
It's on
it,
separate
but doesn't
timeline.
even know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the moon's
I
not
don't know
like
all
the
the
sun.
words.
It doesn't.
All the words.
It doesn't make a full rotation for a 24-hour cycle.
Right.
So it's slowly moving away from us as we're spinning.
Which is why sometimes you don't see the moon at all, right?
Right.
Because it gets smaller even at night, and then it's
Oh,
gone.
right. We don't see the
Waxing
moon
and
at all in
waning.
the
yeah,
nighttime.
it gets
So that makes
smaller
complete
and
sense.
bigger. Yeah, so
I was hoping somebody would say that we also don't see the moon at nighttime sometimes.
no, that's the answer you wanted. Why
Yeah.
didn't you just say that then? and
I
save
wanted
us
you
the
guys to get there
entire 10
yourself. You got
Oh.
there eventually.
He was coaching us along. That's
He
what
was
it was.
leading us.
So, anyways,
Thank you, teacher.
Anyways,
Yeah, I got you. No.
Hayden believes in the flat Earth.
That's
Apparently.
true.
global warming,
Global warming.
probably one of the biggest conspiracies.
I don't know if we
ever.
can't figure out the moon thing. Maybe we should not touch global warming.
We don't even know how the moon rotates around the Earth.
Everything we said was probably 30% right.
Yeah, maybe more.
34.
Um,
It was 34.
that one though. So where do you think all that money goes to if we're spending?
Ukraine right now.
So we're just sending all of our global global warming
warming
money
money?
to Ukraine. How much did we just get approved, or did he just?
No, they just
approve?
found an accounting error. It was like an extra $6 billion went to them that wasn't supposed to, or something.
Went to
Minor error.
Ukraine?
Minor accounting error.
Yeah.
Someone
you know,
put a
$6
decimal in the
billion
wrong spot.
No. How much did he just approve?
Hunter
Approved
Biden's over there just cashing
a
checks.
bunch of money for global warming. And then in the group chat for the young adults, they just put a video or something. I don't remember. Maybe it was a different group chat. Anyways, where it's like the senator is asking the head of global warming. I don't know the words. I don't know the words either.
He's really just the spearhead of the operation.
Anyways,
the
he's
leader
like,
of it.
He's
He's
like,
some
you
old
want
dude."
us to give you $50 billion over the course of the next 30 years or whatever. If we do that, how
Oh, and I
many
remember this
degrees
conversation.
will
Yeah.
it lower the temperature of the Earth? And the guy couldn't give him an answer.
Yeah.
Because they don't know.
They don't know. It's all speculation.
So
It's
how
like
do
this
we know?
conversation.
So then, how do we know how much that's increased? Usually you can go, well, we've increased this much by this much. So if we lessen, then it should just decrease by this much. I mean, there's still, I would think, again, we can't figure out the moon, so don't ask me about science.
Which is
but,
funny.
But I would think some scientific formula would say, if we remove this, then hypothetically, maybe not exactly, this is what should take place.
Well, according to Greta Thunberg, I think we're all supposed to be dead by now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and
dare
well, and when
dare
when AOC popped up the first time and started pushing it, we had like 10 years or
Yeah.
however long, like not very long,
They just
like
keep pushing it back.
yeah, and it just
Which,
keeps.
which is funny. I don't know why they're so worried about the Earth warming up, because historically, like, the human race has done worse as it gets colder. Like, we've had many ice ages that wiped out people, you know, so.
Yeah,
What do you
so,
think,
yeah,
David?
warm is a good thing.
so have we had it where the Earth burns up yet? We haven't had that yet, right?
Everywhere on the earth turns into the Caribbean. We're happy.
Just saying, I think the warmer we get, the better we get.
So, I think so too. As we're all sitting here sweating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're all literally
Exactly.
sweating right now.
Man, it is
We all
pretty
just have
hot up here.
a coconut friend named Larry.
And why do all the, like, presidents keep buying property in Malibu and, like, on the oceanfront property?
because that's where they want to retire. Oh yeah, but if there's global warming, all that's going to be gone.
Yeah, there's
Right.
spending
Can't
millions of
be
Titled
dollars.
mythical creatures anymore.
Yeah. Huh?
This episode can't be titled mythical creatures anymore.
Because now we're talking about conspiracy theories and global warming.
Just title this episode nonsense.
Well, actually,
Absolute nonsense.
global warming is a mythical creature, I guess. It's not real.
It is just as mythical as aliens. Yes, that's good because all this stuff is absolute nonsense.
So there was a time frame of my life where I dedicated a lot of time researching global warming. I don't remember 90% of what I looked up. Okay,
Time
so
well
I'm gonna give you a fact without the number, and just fill in the number with words. Okay, the amount.
Very credible source. If you're watching this, take
Sources
this
say.
as
Reputable. But the impact that humans have on global warming is astronomically low.
Yeah.
Most of this would happen on its own already.
Dead animals and dead vegetation and the ocean, they account for way more than anything we do.
Yeah. I mean, we can
Did you say cow farts?
we can talk about
Really?
cow farts. That's a thing, I
It's
guess.
true, yeah.
It is,
I've heard
and
this.
actually, if you look at it, I don't believe this. I don't believe this. I don't believe this.
He believes
He
it.
believes it.
I think that's code for he believes.
No, but when you look at it, their argument for that actually does make sense.
What the cow
What
farts?
argument?
The cow farts.
Yeah.
Cows fart?
And so, well,
I
Yeah.
believe
so
so.
so without our intervention, there would be so many cows in the world. But we mass produce
Produce
cows,
cows.
right? So we are cutting down rainforests
right.
and we
I
are
heard about this,
creating
actually. No, that
more
changed
and
some
more. I mean, we're just birthing and not birthing. Anyways,
Breeding.
breeding. Thank
Yeah.
you. More and more
It'd
cows.
be-
More and more cows.
It'd
And
be
so that
the
is
story in and of
increasing.
itself if we were
That is
birthing them.
increasing. There's a methane or whatever. That's
Yeah.
That's so. I mean, it does like. Oh, okay. I don't believe it. The Earth is not going to be destroyed because of cows, but like it is a.
That's why they want us to eat bugs.
Yeah. No. No.
Not gonna happen.
I
I'll
love
take a
good steak.
cheeseburger.
I'd rather
coming.
die,
It's
actually. I
coming.
think.
Than
I'd
eat
rather
bugs?
just die than eat bugs. Yeah.
Really?
I don't know if I'd
For
rather
'em.
die,
Push
but
Depends on the kind of bugs. Like roly poly, I can get down with that.
I
It's like
bet we're
popcorn.
already like eating like they're already incorporating in our like meat. I'd bet.
No, what I meant was like if the
Slowly,
world is
we
going
think-
to end if I don't eat bugs, then I just the world ends.
Was it
Just-
Klaus Schwab said
That's
that
pretty selfish, Hayden.
steaks or meat
Everybody
would be a
on this
delicacy.
planet dies
have
if
it
Hayden doesn't
rarely.
eat a bug.
Think about it. Their life would be a lot easier,
They'll be dead.
which means their life would be a lot.
Not if they
easier.
go to hell.
Well, that's.
That's their problem.
all right. So no, I want to go back to this number with words instead of numbers.
Oh man, that's what it was. There was a certain
Astronomically low
percentage.
instead of
There's a certain
0.1% or
percentage
whatever
of
it
the
was.
impact, or like of the change in temperature that is related to humans, or like that's caused by humans. That number is just astronomically low as far as a percentage goes.
Well,
Personally, I think it's the sun that causes the changes. So
because it's
yeah, you got solar minimums and solar majors, and the sun just goes through solar cycles where it heats up and they'll go through like a grand solar minimum where like it goes up a little bit, but then every now and again you have like a major where it really intensifies. And
That's where we get 112-degree days.
well,
And
no,
I
it'd be like
think-
over the period of like 70 years. Like it,
it's the nature of man to be paranoid, I guess. Because I mean, there's going to be a sun flare, a solar flare is going to wipe out everything, and this is going to. I mean, we're always panicking that the world is going to end, and I wonder if it's just kind of always been that way.
Yeah, like that earthquake that was supposed to take out like California or something like that.
Oh, the
No.
big one's coming.
Cascadia
Hasn't happened yet, but-
subductus. We're due, buddy. You're laughing now. It could be right now.
Cascadus reductus.
What's Cascadia
It was,
subductus?
anyway,
just
my,
waving their
like,
wand.
my
Cascadus
point
reductus.
is, it was supposed to happen for the past like 80 years or whatever, and it just
Yeah,
No,
they've
we're
been-
like 200 years overdue. It's not California. It's the
oh,
Oregon
not 80,
coast.
200.
Yeah,
so like,
it's not just California. It's California up through the Oregon coast into Washington.
Yeah, they're predicting anything like
All along that
west,
fault line?
west of I-5 is pretty much in
Yeah.
trouble.
But we're good.
Barely.
Barely.
We're like
we are.
2 miles east of I-5 right
we
now.
will. Yeah, we will. We'll have oceanfront property here.
All right,
Yep.
there we go.
Um,
Then we would kind of. I mean, okay.
zombies.
Oh,
Do
zombies.
you think about this? Think about how much land in America is not being occupied right now. It's just farmland, or some of it's even owned by China, isn't it?
Yeah, China, but the main bulk of like the West, I think it's like 80%, 60, 70, 80% of the West is owned by the government, like BLM and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not like all that isn't available for us to move in and occupy it.
But then we're cutting down more trees.
So what?
Save the trees.
Save,
Save the trees.
Actually, so excuse me. If you believe at all, and this is the thing that's funny, you cannot believe in the Bible. I know some pushback on this one, I guess.
It's
Be careful
unlikely.
there.
But you can't say, "Oh, I believe in the Bible. I trust God and God's plan and all the things that are going to happen," and then think that the world is going to end because
Before the rapture, anyways.
not even for the rapture, even after the rapture, there's a whole process, and then there's a whole other 1,000 years, and then there's so much that takes place even
Well, like,
after the rapture.
Why?
All these
So what's
events
the
that they're
percentage?
predicting, though. All these events they're predicting, though. All these
Oh, yeah.
catastrophic
Like a
events. They're
giant
going to be
earthquake
after.
could
But the
happen.
world isn't going to end, and all humanity isn't
Right.
going to die.
But that's not to say there can't be a world-altering event like Yosemite blowing and the Cascadia subductus
that
going.
can happen.
Hundreds of millions of people dead.
That can happen.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world,
And
but it is to you.
The earthquake can happen. I'm saying global warming destroying everything and
Oh.
everyone dies. Like that
Yeah.
is impossible. It
Right.
can't happen. At least it cannot happen for a minimum of 1,007 years.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, what if three
No,
people?
even more than that, because then the devil's released again for a season. We don't know how long that's even going to be.
It's like a basketball season.
We don't know. God could take.
Yeah, I was gonna say like 3 months about it.
What if global warming did just kind of wrecked everything and say 700 people survived, and then the end wasn't actually for like another 6,000 years, population rebuilt. I mean,
Technically, okay, it could be such a catastrophic thing that the world is decimated.
But not destroyed.
but not destroyed. It has to still be livable for at least another 1,007 plus years.
The Book of Eli.
The book. Oh my gosh,
That's a good movie.
it is a good movie.
The Book of Enoch.
That's what I was thinking of. I was
Oh.
gonna give me the Book of Enoch, but the Book of Eli was a good movie.
He doesn't like the Book of Enoch. You know why? Take a guess. Talks about the Nephilim a lot.
Have you read the Book of Enoch? It's trash.
I've dabbled.
Yeah,
I skimmed it. It's a bit of light reading.
I tried. I couldn't get halfway through it.
I
I'm
haven't
just
read any
like,
of it.
this is ridiculous. Were you gonna say something? Anyway, so I don't think global warming, whatever, aliens destroying the world. None of that stuff can even happen because there's a plan, there's a timeline, there's things that have to take place, and
No man knoweth the time.
even well, I don't know when God's
You
plan
just
will
gave
happen.
a pretty accurate 1,007 years.
No,
It's done.
no. And minimum.
Minimum.
Because if the rapture happened in this moment,
Right.
there's 7 years, and then there's 1,000 years, and then there's
yeah,
a
but
season.
a day is 1,000 to God and 1,000 a day to us.
That's not literal.
Could be.
That's not.
Is it though?
Bang my head against
Every
the wall.
conversation between these two.
Yeah, we don't get anywhere ever.
He's the stubborn one. Won't even concede on aliens an inch. An inch.
Oh, anyways, my point is aliens can't destroy the world. Global warming can't happen. Zombie apocalypse, I wish could happen.
I could.
I mean,
that could.
I guess it could.
Have you seen? Was it 28 Days Later? Where it's like a rage virus.
Also, do you know zombie apocalypse doesn't make any sense? Like the movies were zombie apocalypse
Right.
because your body can only be dead for so long because
Before it
even if
rots
there's
away and
another
there's just a
organism
skeleton
living
there.
inside of you and causing you to move and whatever, it's taking over your brain, it will
Like a
decay
marionette.
to the
Yeah.
point where you're nothing but bone left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really, just hunker down for a couple of years and you're good.
But it's those couple years that we're worried about. That's when the movies take place.
Yeah, but the movies last. Like The Walking Dead, how many years were they through The Walking
Their
Dead?
brains were
At
goo
least 8.
at that point.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I mean, you might have some stragglers that got bit like on year 2. So it's going to stretch out. But the number is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. Until
You know
you
the
have to
funny
worry
thing about
anymore.
zombie movies? In those movies, zombie movies were never made in those movies. Like they never
They
realized.
never heard of zombies.
It was
Yeah,
like, oh, I
they
got
didn't
bit.
know,
Like,
yeah.
shoot him in the head.
Also,
Never seen a zombie movie?
also another thing, like if every citizen right now was to try to like, I don't know, rebel or something like that, we would be wiped out instantly because of all the artillery that the government has. But we can't wipe out zombies, even though they're slower and stupider. And
Hey, World
Don't-
War Z. Now, those were not.
That's
slow
I was
zombies.
gonna say, I think we're if that was to happen, okay, I don't think it's going to. If that was to happen, I think it would be somewhere in between World War Z and
well,
Walking
even
Dead, but, like,
even
much faster
still,
than The Walking Dead.
did the World Wars? I never watched the movie, so did they use weapons,
Zombieland.
and
And what?
tools, and stuff?
You got some smart
And
ones,
what?
some dumb
Yeah.
ones, some fast ones, some slow ones.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it just happened so quickly that they just couldn't do anything about it.
No, I mean like when we were fighting the zombies, did the zombies use weapons and stuff?
No.
Oh.
Were they
No, no,
smart
no,
at
no.
all?
No, they just.
No, they were just
So
hungry.
so how
Really,
would
really
so how
hungry.
would they stand even the slightest chance?
They really wouldn't. You get a
Yeah.
50 cal.
That's
well,
what I'm
not in our
saying,
world
like,
because we know about zombie movies. But
Yeah,
in these
because
other
we
worlds,
know about zombies.
soldiers are getting bit, generals infected. Like they know nothing.
The presidents walk around.
Fruit salad.
They cross the
It all
line.
just kind of comes around in a circle.
Oh boy,
Anyways,
we should close.
we should close.
I think we've said all that needs to be
And,
said.
I do believe in giants. Don't believe in
Bigfoot,
any of the other stuff we talked about.
Nephilim, or yeah,
Oh,
you don't believe in
unicorns.
Unicorns.
I do believe in unicorns.
Unicorn.
demon human hybrid
Well,
babies.
yeah, I don't believe in that. but
Yeah, we already talked about that on another episode though.
Vampires.
No.
Actually,
I
If
do believe there are
vampires-
some people that drink blood,
Yes.
which is creepy.
But not
That's not
immortal
what a
creatures
vampire
of the
is, though.
night who walk around with cool guns
And can
leather
transform into
outfits.
bats.
I think we were talking about this one time about like, could you sell your soul to become a vampire?
I don't think it's possible. Because even then, this is the thing. So, right, and I wanna talk about ghosts.
We can do that.
Yeah.
We can do that
Well,
next
not
episode.
tonight, not tonight,
Yeah,
because I really
yeah,
want
yeah.
to. Because
Goblins and ghoulies.
No, specifically ghosts. But there's still a point. So I'll touch on it a little bit tonight. But there's still a point where you're appointed to die, right? And I personally believe this. I have a little bit of scripture to back it up, but not a whole lot. But the Bible says it's appointed unto man once and once to die, and then judgment, something like that. And my dad's watching like that's not. Don't quote it that way. He'll quote it to me for me. But
He's always pointing his finger at him.
on the TV. But anyways, it's appointed that we're going to die and then the judgment, right? We've been given a time. And we say this nonchalantly more often than not. When it's my time, it's my time. When it's my time to go, it's my time to go. And so I think that when we're born, there is an appointed time already that God knows.
Predestined, some would say.
I was waiting for it. I knew it was going to happen.
But that I was going to throw something at him?
No, that he was going to bring up predestination.
But anyways, I do believe that you can shorten that time by making stupid decisions, which God still knows when it's going to be. But
So wouldn't that make God wrong about your time?
no,
to die then?
because He still knows when it's going to be. But His desired time for you might be different than your time. Anyways, it's a very complex thing.
Apparently,
Or you can extend that time when we see that in Scripture a little bit too.
Convenient.
Convenient. So I
God's
don't
making all the
think
rules even?
that you can sell your soul to the devil and him give you an extra 100 years. I just don't see how like that. He doesn't have that kind of authority to just be like, oh, you're now immortal. No.
What about
that-
money?
That doesn't work that way. What do you mean by money? Can you sell your soul to the devil to give you money?
yeah. Like he's got $50 on him or something. I don't know.
I'll give you all the money in my pocket if you sell me your
Those
soul.
myths, those songs you hear about gold and violins and stuff. Yeah, I got $50.
Devil went down to Georgia.
Got $50. It's hard times, inflation.
You get a mystery box. I can give you this. Or
I'm in a bit of a
mystery
pinch
box.
lately. Oh my goodness.
It's a tough one.
This is this whole podcast by itself, but I don't think we got a lot of time to get into it. But
Start episode 2.
can you sell your soul to the devil? Maybe. My question would be, why does he want your soul?
Because he wants everybody.
So if you're willing to sell your soul to him, he already has it. He doesn't need to bless you
Right,
with
but in
some
your mind,
great thing.
But I think in someone's mind, first of all, I don't think he can buy your soul because it's God's soul. And even if you
Right.
did have a contract with the devil, God would be like, no, you're good.
yeah,
If you repented.
yeah.
But yeah, I think in someone's mind, it would all just cement that even further. Not only am I not saved, I can't be saved. He has my soul. Like, you're just doomed.
In which case, I think that you're already doomed. Like, if you go down that road,
I really want to do the ghost one
yeah, we can't do the ghost one yet.
for the second one today, though.
Oh, okay.
If we do a second one,
Yeah,
We
we
had
should
another
wrap
one in
this one
mind.
up
I
so we
just
can
chomping
do
at
it.
the
Yeah.
I thought you
bits.
were going to do a second one today.
We were. I thought that's what we were doing.
I thought you weren't.
if possible.
Anyways,
We'll talk about it
so,
when we actually
yeah,
end.
we'll-
Yeah.
You know what? We'll stop here. We'll pick it up on
Yeah.
the next one.
You'll get to see it whenever.
Yeah, you just do whenever.
Yeah.
Thank you for
So-
watching.
Thank you for being
Episode-
here for
No,
this
we're not gonna-
absolute
We're
nonsense.
gonna
We're
rush
rush
through
through
the
the
absolute
absolute
nonsense.
nonsense so that we can get through this and then move on to the next one. Yeah.
The next
so-
one might have an actual topic.
it might actually have a topic.
I
Anyways.
love the fact that this is going to be titled Absolute
Absolute
Nonsense.
Push the
Makes me
buttons,
so
do all the
happy.
things, and we'll see you.
Like
for
and
the
share
next
it. Share it. That's a big one. Okay, goodbye.
one. Are we cutting?